Everybody, Hobbyist here, and we are back at it again with another Nemesis lockdown character tutorial guide. And this time, we are going to be covering the Survivor. Now, the Survivor is a Nemesis survivor, so they're going to start in the isolation room. They're also going to have 3 knowledge, which you remember from our last video is a really important head start. But now, let us go a little bit closer as far as into the actual deck of the Survivor and how she stacks compared to her other red counterparts in the Soldier and the Convict. Let us go ahead and go through the action deck of the Nemesis Survivor. Look at the different cards that make her pretty unique to as far as her current playstyle is concerned. So the first card that we have is Distraction. It's combat only, costs you nothing, and you can discard one of your items. It says that you and or one other chosen character in your room may escape the room, moving to the same room without triggering an intruder attack. It's really nice. It's different from like tactical retreats and things like that where you aren't using ammo. And it also might make it useful if you have duplicates a lot of the same items that you feel are kind of useless to you at the moment. My only personal preference is that I like to hold on to items anyway, considering the fact that if I can't use it right now in the moment, I know I can craft it into something better. So that is honestly my only thing with this card. The next card that we have is Vents. It's not combat only. It costs you an additional card, so you'll play 2 cards to use this. And if you are in a room with a technical corridor, you may move to a chosen explored room with a technical corridor's entrance. Draw and resolve an attack card, and treat it as an attack from an adult in darkness. So basically this is the cave entrance room in here, and unlike the mechanic who generally gets off scot-free from traveling through, and even more so in this, you take a little bit of an attack, but you otherwise get to do the same thing. Which honestly is not the worst thing in the world, but again, taking damage is a little risky. So there is that. Next card that we have is Desperate Attack. Again, combat only, costs you nothing, and you get a contamination card and can deal 2 injuries to a chosen intruder in the room you are in. Check the injury effect. If this intruder is still in the room you are in, it attacks you immediately. Ooh, boy. So, this is a very, very, very risky card, because you don't know how much health that the intruders have, as is the case with all Nemesis game. Obviously, this is a terrible, terrible idea if you're facing the Queen, but sure, maybe an intruder that's on 2 hit points, but even then, I would do everything in my power to just try to shoot it with any other guns or anything, or try to just get out of the room as quickly as possible before you do this. You only really do this if you feel like you don't have any other choice. But even though, I don't know, because that contamination card is kind of rough. And then you don't know what that attack card is going to be if it resolves at that point in time. Then the next card we have is Obstinate. It costs you nothing, it's a not combat only card, and you can either draw a card for each serious wound that you have, or discard one of your items and dress one of your serious wounds. This is a very interesting card because aside from getting cards for serious wounds, which remember you can only have 3 before you die, but the fact that you can just discard items and dress one of your serious wounds saves up your need for a whole lot of green items. You can use red items to do this. You can use yellow items to do this. You can use just one-time use crafted items to do this. Like, this is a very useful card for trying to keep yourself alive. It's just basically using whatever it is on you to either duct tape yourself or what have you. So it's really gritty. I like the stylized choice, and this is a pretty cool card. Otherwise, we have just the traditional cards of Search, Repairs, Rest, Demolition, Second Search card, and an Interruption card. So overall, I think the deck is honestly pretty interesting, because there's a lot of improvisation as far as like when you do attacks and that kind of thing, and just kind of moving around the base. I will say that if you only have this lockdown box and you are trying to get all the way across the map, then I would recommend that you do try to get the survivor, because you can move to certain places. Shoot, to even be honest, you could even get from certain areas of the third floor all the way down to the first floor because of the way that the technical corridors are situated. So, it's a very interesting way to play for sure. But now, let's go ahead and get into that quest item. This is traditional as far as we know exactly what this is. It costs you 1 card, and you have to activate it in the repository. It's good because it's the same assault rifle that the soldier has. As far as each time you deal at least 1 injury, you deal an additional injury, it takes up a hand slot, you get 5 shots. Logistically, what the big issue is when it comes to trying to get this quest item is that you have to come from all the way from the 3rd floor all the way to the bottom at the 1st floor. And there's not a lot of quick ways to do that. If other players have set it up in a way to where you can't really use the elevator because the elevator doesn't have power, or you don't have that vents card that allows you to get from certain sections of the 3rd floor to the 1st floor, it is a long trek from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor. And I mean a long trek. Plenty of opportunities to roll for noise, not sure if you can get out of encounters and that kind of thing. So that is really the gamble here as far as trying to get your quest item with the survivor. But when you do have your assault rifle and all the skills that you have available to you, pretty much your whole playstyle to operate at best capacity is to get your hands on a lot of items. Not that I say you wouldn't do this anyway in any Nemesis game, because it gives you more versatility as far as what you can do. But especially with the survivor, you want those items to be able to heal yourself. And I say that for all items, especially with that obstinate card. Plus, you need the means of safely traveling from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor so that way you can get to the repository, get your assault rifle, and be well defended to do whatever it is exactly that you need to do. However, a lot of this deck doesn't seem to showcase the fact that you can use a lot of computer stuff. Meaning using a lot of the rooms, but especially when it comes to the computer actions that are just as valuable as any of the other actions that you would take. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.